Our dish today is shrimp soup. If you like shrimp and you end up making the soup, you better be careful because you might end up eating the entire pot. It is such a simple and straightforward recipe. It is so hearty and so delicious, and it's really easy to make. So let's get started. We will need 4.5 cups of chicken stock, 3 zucchinis and squash, a combination of them. Really, you could put either all zucchinis, all squash, or a combination, whatever you have on hand. 1 can of whole kernel sweet corn. We will drain it before we use it. 2 garlic cloves, 1 small onion, 3 mushrooms, 1 bunch of cilantro, and 1 jalapeno that we will need to cut in half and seed later. 1 bay leaf, a 4th teaspoon of ground black pepper, 1.5 teaspoons of coriander, 1 tablespoon of butter, 1.5 tablespoons of olive oil, 3 stalks of celery, 5 asparagus spears, and finally 1 pound of shrimp that's deveined. Okay, we're going to start chopping our vegetables and getting them ready so we can start making our soup. We will dice the onions. They should be finely diced, but they don't need to be too small. Next, we will chop the celery. I like to slice each celery stalk in half because it just makes it cook faster. And then we're going to dice it into small pieces. We cut off the stem of the jalapeno and seeded it. Now I'm going to dice it into really small pieces. The jalapeno is optional, but it does give the soup an amazing flavor, and if it's seeded, then it will not be spicy. Next, I'm going to mince the garlic using a garlic press. Then slice the mushrooms into bite-sized pieces, followed by the zucchinis. Also chop the zucchinis into bite-sized pieces. Chop the squash, if you are using any, into bite-sized pieces. Zucchinis and squash really cook down because they have a lot of water, so they don't need to be too small because you don't want them to just disappear in the soup. Now I'm going to trim the asparagus if it's not pre-trimmed from the store and chop it into 1-inch long pieces or any size pieces that you prefer as long as they're bite-sized. Lastly, I am going to chop the cilantro. I pre-washed the cilantro and picked the leaves off of the stem. It's okay to leave some of the stem in there as long as it's not the large stem, and I'm going to chop it. It doesn't have to be too fine because it will also cook down in the soup. Now to start making the soup, we will need to heat the olive oil and melt the butter over medium-high heat. Then we will add the onions, celery, and diced jalapeños and sautée for 2 minutes. Next, add the minced garlic and sautée for 1 minute. Make sure that you are stirring constantly so nothing burns. Then we are going to add the rest of our vegetables. We will add in the asparagus, the mushrooms, the squash and zucchini, and also the can of drained corn, and mix together and saute for 2 minutes. We have sauteed our vegetables on medium-high heat for 2 minutes. You can see that they really shrunk in size. Now we are going to add our 4.5 cups of chicken stock. Then we will add in the seasonings, the bay leaves, black pepper, and coriander. Bring it to a simmer, then cover the pot and let it simmer on low heat for 10 minutes. Our soup has been simmering on low heat for 10 minutes. Now we're going to add in the shrimp. I like to add it one at a time just so it doesn't splash everywhere. Use caution here because the soup will be hot. Once all the shrimp is added in, we are going to increase the heat to high and bring the soup back to a simmer. Once our soup is back to a simmer, we are going to lower the heat to low and let it cook for 4 minutes. Our shrimp should be fully cooked after it simmered for 4 minutes. Now we will add the cilantro and simmer the soup for an additional 1 minute. And that's all we need. Next, we will taste the soup and adjust the salt if needed. I tasted the soup and it needs a little bit of salt, so I'm adding 1 teaspoon of salt. The chicken stock that I used doesn't contain any salt, but some store-bought chicken stock does have salt, so make sure you taste it before you adjust the taste. Our soup is ready. It smells delicious and tastes delicious. It was so easy to make. I really hope you guys like this recipe and let us know how it turned out for you in the comment section. For more details, find the recipe in the description box. And if you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe.